경기장.SjoW.
All right, guys, here we are on Shattered Temple, and it's raining. Great. You know, you try to schedule the match when it's nice and sunny, but it's actually always raining on Shattered Temple, so never mind. But anyway, we've got our Red Terran player from Sweden, from the team Dignitas, on the right side of the map. Will he scout before his first Hellion? I don't think so. It is Dignitas.SjoW. And up at the top of the map, in the blue, from the team Vile, winner of the last game, a fearsome bird he is, it is Hawk.
All right, raining and pouring, bad on the SEV's joints, but we'll see if they're able to power through it here.
Yeah, no kidding. I hope they're waterproofed.
Show, man, you just keep waiting for this guy to scout all the time.
You know, I mean, for a while he was. He had this thing early on. For those of you who don't know, about a year ago or so, whenever Sjow would play in online cups, he would never, ever scout before his first Hellion. And the idea behind that was that he wasn't going to do anything different in his build, you know, no matter what he scouted before that point anyway. So, you know, why even do it before you get your Hellion out? Since then, you know, since he's developed his game and has gotten multiple builds, you know, gotten to be a much better player, basically, he has started to scout before his Hellion in a lot of cases. But you still see him kind of go back and not scout every once in a while. And I don't know, he just keeps doing it. I feel like a lot of times it hurts him. Yes. I've seen him lose a lot of games because he just didn't know something was coming.
Well, now he knows where his opponent is. So
yeah, so he knows that at least. But I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see. When I
much like Sjow.
Yeah, I was living with him actually a little bit in Korea,
right.
And I asked him that, and that's what he told me. That was his reasoning.
All right. Well, I actually did know the story behind that. That should have been a question I should have asked him whenever I interviewed him at MLG Anaheim, but I did not. So
well, you missed out on that one.
I did.
Sorry.
But you made the journalistic breakthrough for us all, and the world is eternally grateful for it.
I was just like, why don't you scout? But as you can see here, not setting out a scout at all. Obviously he knows where his opponent is, but he doesn't know what his opponent is doing right now, other than that he clicked his Overlord, clicked on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
And then went back to doing whatever else he was doing.
Sjow's bypassing gas now, and he's just going to go for a 1-Rax gasless FE. His opponent, on the other hand, is also bypassing gas, him for the reason to get out 2 queens and a couple of Zerglings at the same time as soon as the spawning pool stops.
Right, right. Pretty common opening from Zerg to go for that 15 hatchery into, you know, whatever else afterwards. Generally, if you skip gas, it's a little bit more economical for those of you who are a little bit new to that type of thing.
Right.
Yep, get some minerals quicker.
6 Zerglings coming out now, and instead of 4 with a drone after that, which is kind of interesting given the fact that his opponent is actually building this command center on the low ground, and that could certainly put that at risk. 8 lings now.
Wow, yeah, that's a few more lings than you would normally see there. That spine crawler is going to need to be canceled, too. Yep. Does get canceled. I think he sees the Marine and he just wants to stay a little bit extra safe. But yeah, normally you don't see a Zerg player make that many Zerglings early on. 6 is kind of the norm if you don't get gas, just because you do end up having a few more drones on minerals anyway at that point.
And Sjow now running down with his Marines. That's what I was waiting for, but a few more lings are starting to filter in at the moment. The Marine on the left-hand side did indeed die, and those lings are not going to survive long against that kind of firepower.
Yep, you know, those Marines, they could just go grab those lings, make a campfire, cook a little bit. Maybe you could put a campfire in the bunker. It'd be all nice and cozy in there. Stay out of the rain.
Quite all right with that, yes. So,
that's what I do.
So much on this map, but you don't consciously think of it. You've seen it so much.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it must be a very light rain for this still to be so sunny looking.
That's all I can see now. Thanks. Yeah. All right. Well, 5 Marines out on the field. This bunker's about halfway done, so Hawk can just continue to be annoying here. Of course, he can't kill all of those lings, especially all those Marines, especially with a couple of SUVs tagging along behind as well. Factory coming up now. After the second Rax was constructed, he is eventually going to throw down a reactor for that factory, but adding in the second Rax first is kind of interesting.
You know, if you look on this map, too, you also notice that there's lightning, too.
Yep.
Flashes of lightning, and once you see those, you can never stop seeing them on this map. There's a Roach War for Hawk.
Yeah, pretty early on, and it should provide a nice counter for the barracks. And look at this. Dignitas players going for quick thirds today, as we already have one coming up for Sjow.
Well, it's interesting that he got that second barracks, too, before everything like this.
Yeah.
He's just going to have, you know, that many more Marines out, and that's just going to kind of keep him a little bit safer, getting the tech lab on there now. So I think we might see like a little sort of Marauder Hellion push possibly, or just maybe some Bio and Hellion and then adding on tanks a little bit later. A lot of Terrans have been preferring to do pushes like that.
Now, I always have to check Show's APM every time I do this. He's a very smart, very intelligent, very good decision maker, but he's not the world's fastest player.
No.
It's interesting to see how other players kind of stack up to him, as you can see playing at an average of 58 APM this game.
Yep. It's a little bit pretty slow, but really, I mean, a lot of the APM that people do is just spamming.
Yes,
so
it is.
you don't necessarily need it, quote unquote. Although going through your buildings, over and over again and kind of seeing how far along the construction of everything is as a Terran player is, I think, a really good thing to do. So,
Show, though, he has a very high effective APM. Of course, he is pretty quick whenever it comes to the actual fight, but his opponent's losing some lings now. Hawk's got to watch out. He's still got a few lings down to the bottom right-hand corner, but now he has roaches already in play back at home. And he is going for a macro hatch, but has not decided to expand quite yet. In fact, going to lair off of just those 2 bases.
Yep, yeah, he's done that both games now, deciding to go for that lair on 2 bases. And it's always a safer route to go. I mean, if you go for that early 3rd base away from your main, it's a little bit, less safe. You're still having to work with that Tier 1 tech. And on a map like Shattered Temple, too, it's nearly impossible to take a 3rd hatchery before going lair, just because any other base you take, unless it's like one way far away from where you are, requires you to take down rocks to get to it. So
interesting 3 roach poke down here at the bottom.
Yep.
He is going to trap that Hellion, but those units are going to go down pretty quickly if Show would decide to move out with some Marines. But I guess they killed their Hellion. They're happy. So sitting outside his opponent's base, going to get a good read on anything that goes on. Show, with that 3rd command center finished up now, is able to drop down a ton of mules and will have a quick 3rd whenever he does need to, whenever he decides he wants to move out and expand.
yeah, I do kind of wonder what the idea with moving those roaches so far forward was for Vile.Hawk. It could be, too, to kind of make your opponent think that, a ping, to
What
make
is it?
your
It's an
opponent.
Overlord.
Oh, Overlords, wow. To make your opponent think that you're doing some sort of early roach push, maybe overreact by spending some money on an extra bunker, maybe making some marauders you don't need. But yeah, other than that, at least he did get those back to his base before they died. That is kind of nice.
Oh, has to watch out as some roaches are making their way out at the moment. And I don't know if they have speed done or if they were just sitting on creep. It looks
no
like
speed
no
yet.
speed is finished.
No. Yep, he's getting a Spire now, so probably not going to see roach speed this game.
Right.
If you can kind of get your opponent to overreact to the roaches, that's actually going to help your Mutalisks be that much more effective.
Of course.
So I think that was kind of his plan early on. But Show not falling for it, playing things smart,
Yes,
getting
he
his
is.
Marines upgraded. Looks like he's going to go into standard Marine tank medevac against Zerg in this game.
Already with two factories on the ground right now, just finishing up his starport. So, of course, the medevacs are going to be pretty delayed, but shouldn't be too big of a problem. Oh, he is exposing a little flaw there. There is a gap in the wall, so Zerglings will be able to flood through for a counterattack if the time comes.
Yep, that is something he'll need to worry about, possibly.
And Hawk pretty well prepared for drops now, of course. Slower to macro up a little bit, invest in a lot of infrastructure and technology at the beginning of games, but once he does, looks like he's actually going after both the 3rd and clearing up the rocks for the 4th of the gold as well.
Well, it's another nice benefit of getting a few roaches on this map ahead of time. You can handle the Hellions, but you can also break through the rocks that much faster.
Right.
So, yep, nice little trick by Hawk there. If you're a Zerg player out there, you can use those roaches that much more effectively if you do what Hawk does.
No, drone, no, you're good.
He's
Okay,
fine.
no,
he's going to be a building.
Yep. Boom. That's a
fine.
hatchery.
Those Hellions were like, oh, that drone became a building.
Oh, good trap,
nice
though.
round, yeah.
Wow, Show doesn't kill anything.
Man, those things just evaporated. Wow.
All right, bunch of Marines positioned out in the middle of the map, but Hawk is going to catch those off guard as well, forces a stim, and is going to kill a few as they try and run away. Can't commit too much, though. Little Zerglings, what are you doing? Going back home.
Yep, Show playing very defensively, and he is going to have to respond to this Mutalisk harassment, though. Looks like Hawk doing some damage
too.
here. Yep. Oh, wow, some Lings got in. Yeah, through that gap in the wall, possibly. And only one turret right now out within range of those mutas. There's another one in the back there, but they can do plenty of damage without engaging it. Looks like they do need to run away from those Marines.
And wow, haven't taken out these Zerglings yet. And the Zerglings actually ended up getting a few SCV kills as well.
Not too
5
bad.
workers have gone down. A good little benefit for Hawk at the moment.
Yeah, not bad at all for Vile.Hawk. Well done there. The interesting thing with Show is that he kind of reminds me a lot of Thorzane a little bit in his play. Just very slow, very methodical.
Sure.
I feel like Thorzane has a little bit better control, a little bit better macro, but they do kind of both play the same sort of style
Sure.
too, and it's interesting that they're both from Sweden too. There's kind of this like
it's kind of interesting.
Swedish Terran style. I mean, I haven't seen Jinro play for a while, but he did kind of have some similarities to that too himself.
Yeah, I mean, he would not shy away from large high-tech armies or anything like that. It tended to throw in more drops and such, but ooh, nice job picking off one Mutalisk and then backing away without taking too many losses quite yet. Actually hasn't even lost that medevac, so a nice little save from Sho, and he does ward that army away as he pulls back to his defensive position.
Yep, using those roaches to push units around too, not to do damage. It's kind of cool to see. I mean, he's not wasting his roaches, he's just using them here and there. He brings them in to make the Marines have to run away so that his Mutalisks can kill off the medevacs. Little things like that are what you need to do to get ahead in the game, and Hawk is doing a really good job of that so far.
Yeah, Hawk now sitting on 4 bases, his opponent on 3.
That gold,
but of course,
man.
Sho does have another orbital command up. Yeah, he's quad producing mules on top of the golds. It's I mean, spam enough of those and you can mine out a gold in a ridiculous amount of time.
Oh, he needs to protect that though. And here's the thing. Shows up to like 1,500 minerals right now. He could be making more barracks. He is right now, but he could be doing more things to spend his minerals quicker. Don't know if he quite planned for the gold as well as he could have here. Ooh. And wow. Those mutas doing a lot of damage at the natural.
Yeah, maybe supply depots, because I think that's the 3rd supply depot I've seen with called down supplies on top of them. So
yeah, not the best played game for Sho in this on this map, unfortunately.
No. Let's see. There's another missile turret up, and those Marines had just run away, and the missile turret is going to fall, and a few more SCVs are going to go down as well. Marines coming back. They do trap the mutas for a little while. Oh, no, mutas! Oh, and then they go back.
Hawk having mercy, wanting to kind of mellow out the game a little bit, even things up, I guess.
Oh, he's worried about the Lings that ran in, it looks like.
Oh.
Lings have come in now. He has killed 19 workers up into the 20s as well, so nice job there. Very nice job, as a matter of fact, to continue doing damage, and they may even just take out this base. Sho's going to push right up the front, though, starting to take out creep tumors. His tanks are unsieged. However, there's really not a lot out for Hawk quite yet.
Yeah, Hawk's muta count is actually pretty low here. He needs to be really careful about how he decides to engage this Terran army. Yep, bringing his mutas back to join with the other group. That's more like it. That's kind of what you need. And yeah, just making a lot of Lings, a lot of Banelings right now. 38 more Lings on the way, so if he can engage in a big area,
oh, he's unsieged!
Well.
Sho is unsieged completely.
Yeah.
The Mutalisks are going to stream in from behind as well. The Banelings crashing through and killing so much. The Siege Tank army has virtually disappeared. There's a Thor at the back now, so Hawk gets pushed away, but killing those Siege Tanks was so big.
Yeah, I mean, he did do quite a bit of damage there. 32 more Banelings on the way, 32 more Zerglings, now 62 more Zerglings. His economy looking really, really good this game. And Sho's got to be careful of that position he's in on the map right now, on the edge of the creep like that is a pretty risky spot to be in right now.
Yeah, yes it is. We'll see how Sho wants to continue to work this, because there's only 3 tanks along with that army now. It's a lot of Marines, yes, but he's got to watch out, and he gets trapped out away from his army again. Now everything's sieging up. The Banelings have already closed, starting to get in there against the Marines. Good split from Sho as he's trying to run back at the moment. Magic boxing the Thor, so it won't be able to kill any clumped up units. The Banelings continuing to roll in. The Marines are all dead. Hawk can just let his Mutalisks run free now.
Yeah, I mean, Hawk even attacking that pretty inefficiently, too, using a lot of the Banelings on the tanks, but it just didn't matter. I mean, he's so well ahead.
Oh, we have a big drop, though. A big drop making its way in for Sho into the main. This has actually done some pretty considerable damage. The spawning pool may go down. Finally, some Lings are being brought in at the moment, and Sho looks like he's going after Lings and not after the spawning pool, so the Mutalisks are going to be enough to clean this up afterwards, and that drop is going to die.
Yep, that's right, though. I think that Sho's going to need a little bit more than that, though, to really get back in the game. I mean, killing the spawning pool is certainly nice, but when there's that big of a group of Mutalisks out on the map, you've got bigger problems to worry about, I would say. Hawk adding on some infestors right now as well. What are the upgrades on those Mutalisks at the moment?
Let's go ahead and take a look. Where are my friendly mutas at? Are they in the middle?
There they are, yep.
Just 1-0 at the moment.
Carapace. All right, going for the Carapace first again.
Okay, well, Sho. That's a lot of barracks Sho, but...
Yeah, and he doesn't really have the economy to support that either right now.
He did when he was banking that many resources before, but he had to reproduce his army so quickly that it's not worked out that well for him. We do have 3-3 on the way for Sho. We have +2 melee attacks coming up for Hawk, along with Adrenal Glands and a Greater Spire with 6 Corruptors. So he is moving into the Broodlord phase and pressing his advantage as he sits on 5 base.
Yep. Now, Hawk isn't quite, he hasn't quite won it just yet. His opponent does still have a pretty decent economy going. He has taken his 4th base, so Hawk can't just exactly react, or relax, I should say. And this drop looks like it might do some damage.
All right, so drop making its way in. The Lings may be able to delay long enough for the Mutalisk to pull back, and it looks like that is exactly what's going to happen. A couple of Spine Crawlers may fall in the process, but everything else is going to get cleaned up. One Muta dies as well.
Yep, that's right. No target firing really done by Show that I could see there, and that +1 carapace just really, really helpful in these situations. Yeah.
Well, Greater Spire just about finished now. We already know that there are 6 Corruptors on the field, so with the resources, that Hawk has banked up, we're going to see 6 Broodlords in just a second. He has a supply overhead as well, and boom, there they are.
Show with a very Thorzane-esque move, too, going for the Ghost a little bit early here. He's going to be ready for those Broodlords.
Right.
So, yeah, Show is still showing us that he's not out of the game at all, but he is going to possibly lose this 4th. It's going to be close. Oh, Hawk not paying attention.
1, 2, 3 Mutas went down. But we already have replacement command centers ready for Show as well.
Pretty much.
He's going to float one down there. So we won't lose too much mining time, and not too much loss for Hawk really either.
Yep, the big problem is he wants to be making a lot of Ghosts right now, but if you look at the income, he just does not have the minerals that he should to do this, and that is going to make these Broodlords very, very effective. No Vikings as well that I could see out on the map anywhere, and it looks like Hawk wants to get aggressive here. This may be a bit of a risky maneuver. The army is still pretty big, but yeah.
All right, the Marines getting ready. The tanks unsieged so they don't splash their own units as Orbital Command taking the damage. And it looks like Hawk is going to push it. No, backing away now, just trying to goad the units into the Infestors and the Broodlords. Nice EMP actually hits,
nothing.
Wow, no, wait, it hit like, it took down 100 energy on 2 of those, but that was it. So the Infestors were at totally full energy, though. So
yeah, Hawk needs to be pretty careful about how he engages this. His ground army is not terribly large right now. Oh, and here comes Show. Oh, no, the Marines.
Oh, all clumped up, and the fungal growths hit so much. There's not a lot of Mutalisks left. They have been used pretty liberally now, but of course those tanks don't mean as much whenever the anti-air disappears. However, we have some Vikings along the side. Those are going to need to be dealt with by the Corruptors. I'm surprised the Corruptors haven't gotten in there yet because the Broodlord numbers have been whittled down a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. Some damage being dealt, but Show has lost just a ton of Marines here.
Yeah.
And but look at this. He does manage to push Hawk back. That was pretty heavily engaged, I would say, by Hawk. I mean, not to be too harsh or anything.
No, I understand.
But, now he's going to take some more damage from this drop here. But, Hawk, he was in a position where he didn't really need to be the aggressor. He could have just kind of pressured a little bit with the Broodlords and let Show come to him. But, he decided not to and kind of lost things a little bit inefficiently. His economy should be good to make up for it. He's not really taking a lot of damage from these drops.
Just lost another 2 Mutas there, though, and trying to clean that up.
Yeah, well, he's kind of past the phase in the game where he really needs Mutalisks.
Understandable.
So,
it's one of those things. We had so many units running up, he could have just delayed and let the Zerglings run first.
Right. It's still a bit inefficient. Definitely true. Yep.
All right, let's see here, though. A bunch of Broodlords along with us at the moment. Show sitting on 4 Vikings and 4 Ghosts right now, certainly trying to produce as many as he can. Actually, quad Medivacs now being produced. No Vikings at all in this round.
Yep. And here comes some more Broodlords. Only 4 of them this time for Vile.Hawk.
Right. Well, actually, he's got a few more behind. No, they're actually just kind of trapped in the middle of the Corruptors.
Okay,
one falls very quickly. A second goes down as well. And we'll see if Show can actually do enough damage now. Oh, fungal growth hitting every one of the Marines. Now we have a siege up, but of course, with the Broodlings down, the AI may just very well target the Broodlings themselves and cause splash damage on all the units. That is not looking good for Show. He did initially open up the beginning part of this engagement pretty well, but once the fungals hit, it got increasingly bad for him.
Yep, that's right. A pretty messy engagement all around, but it looks like Hawk comes out on top of that. Show does need to fall back. There are still a couple Ghosts out, but do they have the energy to snipe? It looks like he's just going to be able to use Marines here.
Right. All right. So Show is weakened to about 90 supply right now. His opponent at 125. Once again, Hawk sitting on a great economy and just throwing waves of units. Maybe not the most efficiently, but just throwing waves of units at his opponent, just bludgeoning him to death, really.
Kind of trying to swarm him. Yep, hitting him with that big Zergy mallet over and over again until he's dead. And that command center, on fire, but should be able to be repaired.
Yeah, looks like it will be.
Close there. And, very nice, too. Putting down the creep here. Just kind of delaying Show just that much longer from getting that base.
Oh, certainly worth 100 resources sitting in that Overlord there. And Show will eventually clean up the Overlord, but the damage has been done. Hawk sitting at 144 supply now, plus 3 weapons for his melee units on the way. That will benefit the Broodlings as well, but of course no plus or no upgrades to the air weapons. So Broodling Strike sitting at its normal 20 damage.
5 more Broodlords on the way too. This is getting a little bit ridiculous here for Show to deal with. How many ghosts does he have out on the map right now?
4.
He has 4. Okay,
yes.
So that's a good amount. Oh, I don't know about this. Those Broodlords are very brave, moving all the way out there like that.
All right, Zerglings are starting to walk in as well. Snipes immediately killed 2 of the Broodlords. 5 more sitting there with 4 more reinforcing.
Yep.
And another Broodlord goes down. They did some damage with Splash because of the target from the tanks.
That ghost is like, I'm on your side, man. All right. Well, not a lot of anti-air, having to use the Infestors to take down those Vikings.
Does get them, though. Those are the only Vikings that are on the field at the moment. 3 are being produced at a time, but still pretty good looking for Hawk. Show has done, I will say, Show has done a very nice job of equalizing the big losses that he's taken in some of these engagements and things like that. But Hawk, his economy is just looking so good at the moment. It's going to be very hard for him to overcome that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Show kind of showing us what happens when you can be patient here and your opponent attacks a bit inefficiently.
Sure.
Yeah, Hawk doing some damage here with these Zerglings, but Show can handle it. Oh, but the Marines are out of position for the Broodlords to move in now. But where is the anti-air for Hawk? There are the Corruptors now, finally.
Right.
And I think this just might be too much here for Show to handle.
Yeah, it looks like the Corruptors. Corruptors, of course, very, very good against Vikings, and they are able to dispatch those pretty well. Hawk making his way out with the rest of those Broodlords, just decimating his opponent's economy. He has killed 48 workers in this game so far, running in with the rest of his units now, and the ghosts that are left, doesn't even matter how much energy they have. Picking up, but there are Corruptors in tow.
Yep, those Corruptors are going right after the Medivacs. GG for Show.
GG.
Well played.
Wow.
And Vile.Hawk taking another game, bringing things to 2-1 in favor of Vile.